Shreveport City Councilman Michael Corbin joining us. Hey, Mr. Mike, how are you today? Happy Monday, Mike.
Good morning, Robert and Aaron. How are y'all today?
Okay, so big, let's call it phase one today, a working session of the Shreveport City Council. Will Miss Ollie, will the mayor be coming to the meeting today to start to pitch you guys on the we need $30 million to build a new sports arena?
Well, I hope so. I think that, in our work session today, what I'm looking for is a lot of information to be shared not only with city council members, but also to begin to get more information out to the public so that they can form an opinion as well.
This is a proposal for $30 million. The city would go borrow $30 million. Right now, if I said, Michael Corbin, you need to vote on this today, where on this fence are you?
Well, right now, I'm not supportive because I don't have all the information that I feel like I need, and all my questions have not been answered. I know there's already a lot of emails going back and forth. My inbox is full over the weekend, so there's lots of chatter out in social media. And I think that, what we need to do is let's tell this story and see where the citizens are on it. For me as a city councilman, I need to know more about what are the true costs, what are the different sources where revenue to pay for this may come from, besides just public money, and what are some time frames as well.
Now we'll get back to something you just said about other than public money in just a couple of seconds. Do you have any inclination before the meeting, sort of the basics of what the mayor's plan to come up with $30 million is going to be? How are we going to come up, borrow the money, bond the money? I don't know the particulars. Do you?
Well, the information, some of the information that's been shared with council so far is the bulk of this money to repay for the bonds would come from the Riverfront Development Fund, which is money that comes in from the riverboat casinos annually. Of that $13 million that the city receives annually, somewhere between $1 million and $2 million they propose would be used as debt service to pay bonds off over 25 or 30 years.
So what are we doing with that? I mean, do we have $1 million or $2 million extra? He said tongue-in-cheek. I mean, it seems like, isn't that robbing Peter to pay Paul?
There's going to have to be some. There has to be some cuts. There has to be some other uses, because right now, Riverfront Development Fund, a little bit of it goes to for economic purposes, economic development. Some of it goes to nonprofit funding, but the bulk of it, somewhere between $9 and $10 million for the past few years, goes directly into the general fund to prop up everyday expenses.
I mean, I guess my question was, I'll bet we don't have them from that Riverfront Development Fund. I'll bet that I mean, how many people would say, yeah, we got $1 million or $2 million extra in there every year we can spare? I would bet we don't.
I'm kind of waiting on somebody to show me those numbers.
I'm looking at sales tax numbers that are down $2.5 million from 2015 to 2016. Gambling revenue dollars are down by more than $2 million from about 4 years ago. The numbers in Shreveport keep going down. Is it the responsible thing to borrow more money right now?
Well, and I think that's the conversation and the reality that we have to look at. Y'all had a guest on your show last week talking about gambling revenues, the trends in gambling revenues for the past few years, and certainly it's not a positive trend. So I think that we've got to take all that into account, because if we do something that's real nice for Shreveport in 2017, but in 2022 it bites us in the rear end, we didn't do the right thing.
Let me ask you this, Michael, when we're talking to Michael Corbin, Shreveport City Councilman, do you have any idea from the mayor's office or anyone else about what this arena will bring in terms of dollars? If we do have a Pelicans G League team, how many jobs, how much money will it generate for our community? Because I'd want to see that if I'm sitting on the city council.
Yeah, if that information is out there at this point, it has not been shared with the full council, and it has not been shared with me.
Then I'd be a no vote. I'd say, Mayor, you got to bring me some numbers. Do you feel that way too?
Well, and all the vote this week does is it introduces a piece of legislation. Then 2 weeks down the road is when it's actually voted up or down. So that gives us a 2-week time period for more information to flow. And if it doesn't, then at that point we simply vote it down.
Michael, do you have any inclination, going back using that word again, what the mayor's plan is? Look, if we've got this brand new shiny arena in X number of years, and our team, the Shreveport Pelicans, pardon me, if they play 40 games a year, you're still looking at an empty arena 325 nights out of the year. What other uses have you been told that the building might have?
Well, and that's a really good point. I would feel much more comfortable if the case was made for a mid-sized sports arena first, and then the possibility of a developmental league team coming here was icing on the cake.
I mean, I guess
and I think we've turned it around a little bit.
Yeah, pardon me. You tell me if I'm wrong. It doesn't seem to me that there's all these groups, organizations, events that are lining up to come to Shreveport and have nowhere to go. Is that fair?
The sports folks will tell us that we have small venues, and we have places like Hirsch and CenturyTel that are too big, and there is a need for a mid-sized facility. But we also find out that when you're trying to attract regional sports events, sometimes a lot of that seems to go I-10 and below.
So the point is that the possibility, there are people in town that will tell you that we are, in fact, turning people away.
Yes.
Let me ask you this. How do you have the pulse of the council yet? Is this going to be a tough decision?
I think it is going to be a hard decision for all 7 council members. I think that, in 24 hours, we're going to know a little bit more, because I do expect a lot of discussion today. And I expect and hope we have a lot of citizens who may be for or against this, who either weigh in with their council members or come to the meeting tomorrow at 3 and make their comments directly, because I think not only does the council need to hear comments, but the mayor and her administration needs to hear from the public as well.
Shreveport City Council member Michael Corbin, thank you so much for your time. I'm sure we'll be in touch.
Thanks. Y'all have a good day.